You know how we've talked about you can't keep going back into a toxic pool? It's kind of the idea, if you get injured or get hurt, you realize you have your wound, then you get out of that environment, you start to heal, you start to clean up, and then you feel better. It's not to go back in the toxic pool. If the toxic pool hasn't started its own cleanup system and isn't healing, then you're just going to keep getting reinfected. So you could just keep getting re-injured. And you have to take a look at that too. Like, what's the belief system? What's the problem? Why do you keep going back there? Because you believe you should. Why should you? Because, I don't know, we're supposed to. Why are you supposed to? Right? Like, we have to unravel this stuff and start to learn and have that discernment. Right? It'd be one thing if you left the toxic pool, but then the toxic pool also realized it was toxic and took measures to start cleaning up, and you were cleaning up and everybody's cleaning up. And then it's a totally different scenario. So they're showing something very similar. I think that's what the parallel they're trying to get me to see. They're showing specific examples of, like, they showed a family dynamic where there were some people in the family who would get themselves in sticky, tricky situations where they would, like, gamble away their finances, gamble away their life, take risky, like, they're making their choices. They're choosing to spend their money a certain way, and then they run out of money and they're in a really bad position. So they go to the people who are in the family that can help them and have the money, and expect them to use the money that they have to save them. And it's like, well, I'm not the one who made the bad choices. And then they do it anyway because they feel obligated, because their ego is also like, well, don't be the asshole. And so then they help them out of the sticky, tricky position. But then it happens again and again and again and again, because you're almost training the people who don't give a fuck that it's okay. They can do whatever they want. They could be totally reckless. And you're always going to save them, because you're not going to let them live on the street. You would be embarrassed. People would say, why didn't you help them? Meanwhile, you're about to be living on the street because they've drained themselves, and now they've drained you too, because they don't give a fuck and they're not learning their lessons. So this is the same idea. Everybody has to learn their lessons. Everybody has to get over their ego, right? So it's like the same idea. You get out, you heal. But if they keep pulling you back in the toxic pool and you allow them to, then you're toxic too. And then everybody's shit out of luck. So sometimes we have to do the hard thing where others might see it as, oh, you're an asshole, or you're terrible, or I can't believe that, or I can't believe your family member is where they're at, or what, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, well, you have to get over your ego. Who cares what other people say? People don't know truth. People don't know what happened. People don't know. They don't give a fuck. They just see the end scenario and make all types of assumptions and then call the good guy the villain. That's what happens a lot of times, right? And they don't ask the quote good guy or villain, whoever they think that person is, further information or clarity. And quite frankly, it's none of their fucking business anyway. And yet, this is what happens. And so, I don't know if they're showing this example. I think it's for all of it. Because I was going to say, what I was going to say is, are they showing the example because even the good guy, the savior, or the villain, however you want to see him, needs to get over his ego of wanting to be seen as the good guy, or feel like he has to be the martyr, or feel like he has to be the savior, for fear of what other people will say. But he's not saving himself. He's going to get drowned out. His ego is going to let him get drowned out and drug out and be stuck in the same position as his family members who are clawing and scrambling at him. Now he's going to be down there in the gutter with them. Who's he going to claw at? Who's going to be his savior? That's what I mean about misery loves company. You all get in the same boat, but then there's holes in the boat and sinking. So you keep latching onto the next boat, but then your infected disease gnaws through that wooden boat, and then you sink that person too. And then you all claw onto another boat. That's why it's like you can't let them aboard your boat. They'll sink your ship too. And your ego can't get in the way and be like, oh, I better do it. Everybody's going to think I'm an asshole for not letting them on the boat, right? It's like, well, what's more important? That you're seen as the good guy and you die down in the ship with them? Or that you're seen as the asshole, but you get to live your life because you made the choices you made? I'm not saying this is actually an easy answer. It's actually not. In 3D reality, it's really hard for us as humans to turn away from people who are hurt and injured and infected. It's disease. And yet when they're not helping themselves, when they're not recognizing there's a problem, they're not seeing their shadow, and you keep saving them, that's enabling them, they don't have to take a look at their shadow. They can keep doing what they're doing because they keep getting their way. And it's hard to stand up to those who are doing that because they'll claw, they'll hiss, they'll spit, they'll be vicious. And who knows, they may never learn. They may go out dying vicious, angry, disease-infested rabies, never willing to take a look, never willing to take accountability. Because it's hard. It's not easy. But it's not easy being the person who's being kicked and hissed at and spit on when all those years they saved you. But infected people don't care about that. Infected people don't care about you. Infected people that are sick like that, they'll put a smile on their face to get what they want. But when they see they're not going to get what they want, they will lose their shit because they don't really give a fuck about you. They just care about getting their needs met. They're sick. The best way I can describe what they're showing is like these people have rabies. I don't know. Sorry, I got stuck in the scene and describing it. How did we come on here? Oh, the toxic pool, right? And then using more like a real life example. Yeah, sorry, they're showing this stuff. It's crazy to me. They keep showing both. It is, yeah. I think it's crazy to me because they're showing now people I know, right? And I'm like, oh shit, that is kind of like that. It's not kind of, it's exactly like that. It's interesting. Well, I guess that goes back to everybody needing to do their own work, because in these scenarios that they're describing, even it's like, in other words, if I was more flat and clear about all this, most people would look at the savior, the hero, the good guy who's always bailing out the asshole as such a great guy. And he is, but he's also an asshole too, because he's not really loving himself. And it's because he's worried about his ego. And so he's people pleasing to get validation from the masses who don't give really a fuck about him either. They're either just going to say he's an asshole or say he's a good guy. Otherwise, they don't really give a fuck about him. And so his ego has to recognize that. And he's got to learn how to love and heal himself and move away from the toxic pool. If you stay near the toxic pool, they'll seep back in the second they get a chance and reinfect him. And then he's going to have to keep doing it. So it's almost like he didn't heal, or maybe he did heal, but then he still has that weak spot, or he doesn't have discernment or understanding or full grasp of the scenario where you cannot open the door an inch. He'll slam it open and take a mile and take you down. There goes your ship. What are you showing? What are those called? Oh, it's like they're termites. You think they're small little things. They're fine. They'll eat away. Oh, that's what they were showing in the boat. It was termites. It's like they'll eat away. Next thing you know, the whole house is crumbling. It's like slow and steady, and you don't even realize, see it, know it. And before you know it, they've destroyed everything you've built. And they don't give a fuck. They're literally operating out of their disease, out of their wound. And you're enabling the wound when you allow the inch of the door. And it can seem harsh and cold to a lot of people on the outside, but who gives a fuck? Why are they even judging? Why aren't they worried about their own house? I wish they would give a more specific example, so I hope people are hearing it and it can land. Sometimes it's really good when they do broad examples like this, so you can place the lesson on your own life and see where you're also doing that, where you're not truly loving and honoring yourself, and you're allowing people who are smiling in your face but ultimately mean you no good to come in and destroy your foundation. Why? What's your fear? Your fear of outside validation or criticism? Or fear you won't be loved or accepted or approved upon? I don't know. It's like you have to figure out whatever that fear is. And this is where it's like, it also seems like it could be hard to say that it's like you don't give a fuck, that you can't care about what other people think more than you love yourself. That's the one that I think is hard for a lot of people. I mean, I know it is for me too. It's like you can't let your love of yourself be less than your ego, right? Your love of yourself has to be greater than your ego. Your love of yourself has to be greater than your ego, so you don't lose yourself, your life. In this example, a person would go right down with the boat. If they let their ego win, then the termites get in and affect the foundation, affect the boat, and there they go, they're sinking. And of course, hindsight's 20/20, right? Like so many times people are like, fuck, I let the termites in because I thought everybody would think I was an asshole if I didn't. Well, no. All right, well, now you're dead. The ship is sunk. Damn ego won again. It's tough, right? Because everybody wants the instant gratification. It's like they freeze in the fear, or like the thought that they needed to make that immediate decision to something like right there they're showing, I don't know how to verbalize it. It's like oftentimes they feel like that pressure or something, they cave under the pressure of the termites or something like this. It's like the termites wait until the foundation is always wobbly or weak or something, and then they spot the wobble, they spot the weakness, and they go in and destroy it. And down it goes. And so, okay, so this is the work always for all of us, and this is why everybody has to do it for themselves. Everybody has to be strong within themselves. Everybody has to fully love and accept themselves, and all of us have to do a lot of hard things. We have to stand up and say no to a lot of people that we love, or a lot of people that we don't want to say no to. And on top of it, it's even harder when you know you're going to look like the real asshole, the real bad guy, saying no, standing up. And so it's like, well, you got to get over it. Or do you want to go down? Right? It's like, yeah. Sorry, that woke me in the middle of the night. I feel like I'm falling back asleep. I know, what was the thing you said right before that? Oh, God, excuse me. Oh, shit. I feel like there was something else they wanted me to say. It was like, oh, thank you. That's why everybody has to do their own work. You can't carry it for everybody. Because once you start carrying it for everybody, you're going down too. Then it's like you stopped loving you. Right? It's one thing to help others, but when it does become an overburden, it's not balanced anymore. It's like then you can become unbalanced within yourself, where now your ego is overpowering your love for yourself. No, that can never be. Your love for yourself has to always be greater than your ego. It has to be for your own survival. People think it's the other way around, but I don't believe that. And this is a great example of that. And yeah, it's like that's why everybody has to do their own work and has to love themselves. Because it's this idea, sorry, they're showing it to me, but I don't know how to verbalize it. It's like they have to be strong enough to say no, because you have to be strong enough to say no to them, right? Because if they say yes and they get infected and then they slip into that, well, then you saying yes to them brings on the whole boat of infestation onto your ship. So it's like, well, no, you had to be strong enough and clean enough and whole enough to come on the ship. You decided to say yes to those infecting you, and then they're now eating away at your ship. So you're infected again. So you have to be in quarantine. And the ship's gone. You'll have to catch the next ship. Yeah, that's why everybody has to do their own work. They have to really love themselves. Their love for themselves has to be greater than their ego. Otherwise, you risk going down. Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.